Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host Tom Howe and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news contents that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's packed show, we join creative music technology student Niklas Lake, who unveils his immersive underwater thriller audiobook Wake and shares insight into its production. We check in with behavioural psychologist Joe Hemmings to explore why New Year's resolutions are falling out of favour and what that says about our collective habits. As well as that, we take a trip into the story behind the UK's biggest Christmas tree cycle appeal with Nick Stammers, CEO and founder of Just Helping. We hear from Kieran Hemsworth from Grocery Aid and key worker Ed Cox, who join us to discuss the unsung heroes of Christmas and why supermarket staff deserve more recognition. And we welcome Joe Miller from Microsoft UK and TV personality Amy Hart, who share why scams are on the rise, the role of AI, and provide practical advice for those affected. Plus, Rory reveals how quirky time zone differences mean we don't all ring in the new year at the same time, while Jessica takes us around the world to explore fascinating New Year's Eve traditions from Spain to the Philippines.
NEWSWAVE.
First this week, a new immersive thriller audiobook, which delves deep underwater, literally, has been produced by third-year creative music technology student Niklas Lake. He joined Mia Howlett for the first play of Wake on Chaos Radio and to discuss the process of producing this project and his future hopes post-graduation.
NEWSWAVE.
This audiobook so far has just been a project I've been working on for my university degree. I'm now in third year at Falmouth Uni, and the story is about a person called Eli. Alone, Eli investigates a mysterious shipwreck with almost no survivors. What he hears inside isn't in any report. Dive into it, an immersive thriller where the ocean keeps its secrets until it's too late.
I'm someone that enjoys the sea. A lot of us do down here in Cornwall, but it's got this real new sense to it. Like, almost as you said, stuff maybe happens that you're not expecting, and there is a bit of a twist. I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
But almost you really take that person to where it's happening, and you're kind of really surrounded by the ocean, aren't you, in this audiobook? Talk me through the process of producing this. Are you in the water? It genuinely sounds like you're in the water doing this.
So, yeah, there are parts where I am actually in the water. So some of the hard parts of being able to record some of this stuff was water sounds, because microphones, unfortunately, are not the best for using underwater. As you know, they break. They're all electrical. They all break when they go down there. So I went down. I used a hydrophone for a lot of it, but weirdly enough, I didn't realize this till later on. A friend of mine, I've been diving myself, so I love diving and going underwater and everything myself. And it's using that same feeling of going underwater or remembering what it sounds like. And a lot of the underwater sounds I used came just from a GoPro, from us diving ourselves, and just use those sounds there, which was a year ago, where I didn't even think about it at the time. So when I had all those sounds, I was like, oh, thank God, because it was super difficult to get these certain sounds because the equipment just doesn't let you, unless you've got very specialist equipment, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've managed to create a really authentic sound with it, so you definitely are taken there as a listener. What inspired you along the way to create this story? Because as you said, there's a lot going on with it, isn't there?
Yeah. So story-wise, making the story was a lot of chatting between myself and my housemate. She's doing creative writing in Falmouth Uni as well. So that's what's amazing about the uni, is that you can literally just look anywhere and there's people to collaborate with anything. And it was basically almost a day of us sat in my room bouncing ideas back and forth, and we finally came up with a story. Otherwise, yeah, like you said earlier, I wanted to just take people on a journey through places they may not have been before. And some of my favorite sounds in the world is just being underwater. Just the quiet, the stillness. Also, some of my favorite sounds is when ducking under a big wave as it's crashing above you. It's just feels amazing. So I just wanted to, of course, push that through and everything. And in addition, it's also the part of letting people imagine stuff. So, when you read a book, you can imagine exactly what's on the page and you can see it in your head. I wanted to do the same, but with just audio instead.
Yeah, you don't want to paint too much of a full picture, because then your listener has nowhere to go with their imagination, I guess.
Yeah, their hand is like almost being held as they go through. You want them to explore themselves, yeah. For sure.
Well, I don't want to talk any more about this without hearing it now, and we'll speak more after. So I think it is time to hear this creation. Would you like to introduce it, Niklas?
Of course. This is Wake, my immersive audiobook, and I hope you enjoy it.
Copy that. You alright, Eli?
Yeah, just quiet morning.
You always say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, silence makes you think too much.
Maybe that's what you need.
Yeah, thanks, Mara.
I read the report again last night. The boat that we're investigating is called the Maverick. They say the storm came out of nowhere and the whole crew went down with it. All except one. He's still in critical care at St Mary's Hospital.
Well, let's see what we can learn down there then.
Okay, remember the plan. Relay what you see to me through comms.
Yep. Yeah, I got it.
On the investigation site now.
That's us then. Time to earn your pay.
Guess so.
Here, let me help you put the kit on.
Thanks.
Okay, you're good to go. See you on the other side.
Mara for Eli. Can I get a radio check, please?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
You're loud and clear too. You're good to descend whenever you're ready.
Roger that. Beginning descent.
You're passing 15 metres. How's the visibility?
Visibility's okay. The light's fading though.
Well, you should see the wreck soon. She's lying on her port side, and the hull should be partially intact.
Everything feels so quiet down here.
You're at 32 metres. Should have visuals by now.
Yeah. I see her. The Maverick. So sad to see such a beautiful ship down here.
Don't get sentimental. You don't have that much time left.
Entering through the starboard breach. Everything's still. Like it's frozen mid-motion.
Try to get eyes on the bridge first. That's where they found the black box last time.
Yeah. There's a jacket here. Looks familiar somehow.
You okay down there?
Yeah, just deja vu, maybe.
Copy. Do you see anything else?
Eli, wake up! What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Right. Must have been interference. Never mind.
Stay calm, all right?
Yeah. Moving toward the cabin now. There's the crew's quarters here. Stuff everywhere. But it's all covered in sand.
Anything useful?
Wait. There's a photograph on the wall. Faces are blurred with algae, but...
Eli? Can you hear me? I think I'm losing you.
It's me. It's my crew.
What?
The photo. It's me on the deck with the crew.
Eli, stop. It's not making sense.
We didn't make it out of the storm.
Eli, wake up, son! Mayday! Mayday! This is Maverick! Can anyone hear us? Turn starboard! Captain, the radio's down! Eli, grab the rope! Help! Can anyone hear us? Help! Eli! Stop dreaming! Eli! Eli!
Eli! Eli! Eli! Eli! Wake up! Come back to us!
I'm coming up!
Stay with me. Down on this corridor to the left. Move out of the way!
Move! Stay with me. We're losing him. Move! Out of the way! Quick! Through these doors! Eli, can you hear us? Can you open your eyes? My name is Mara, and you're at St Mary's Hospital. You were on a boat and got caught up in a storm. Squeeze my hand if you can understand me. Good. You're safe here. We're going to take very good care of you. We'll call your family members and update them, okay? Can we call neuro for a full assessment and then inform anaesthesiology that the patient's waking up now? And then could we also order some more blankets for Ward 5, please? After I've done my round,
That was absolutely brilliant. So the first time I listened to it, I was not expecting the ending. Again, we've all heard it now, but I feel like I don't want to talk too much about it because, as we said earlier, everyone's going to take something different from it, right? Mm-hmm. So I wonder, what did you hope that people would take away from it after hearing the story?
Well, interestingly, a lot of the time, I just wanted to at least get the bare basic of people understanding the story, because as I was making it, I realized I really need to at least get the point across of what's happening, because it was super easy early on in the stages of the project where I was showing people, they didn't know what was happening. They were like, okay, where have we been? We're now suddenly in the water, now we're suddenly in the hospital. I don't know how has that happened? So just that as a bare basic, honestly, just so people understood it. But it was also just I don't know, a bit of a shocker. Like, oh my gosh, this whole time it's been like this. And also, if you listen through it again, which you can listen through it on my SoundCloud as well, I've published it. You can listen through it again, and you can see subtle moments where there are parallels between the hospital sounds and the diving sounds. So have a listen through it again, and you see even what the characters are saying is like, you see parallels between what's actually happening, and then you listen through it again. It's like rewatching a movie, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly, yeah.
And you want to be the person that goes, oh yeah, I was thinking that. Halfway through, I thought that might happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But I sometimes think, I like to hold my hands up and say, do you know what? Hats off to whoever created that, because I did not see that coming. So I think it's one of those things where you can listen again, as you said, and find new things in it. So that's awesome. You're in the final year of your creative music technology course at Falmouth University. How have you found that? And obviously, what are you hoping for next?
Oh, yeah, no, it's been great. I'm in now my third final year. It's all a bit stressful, obviously, with all dissertation and everything having to go through. But being at Falmouth Uni, it's just allowed me just to be just generally creative. Like this module I've just been doing now for this audiobook was literally do a project that you want to work on and make something cool. So a lot of my friends I know have made EPs, made songs and everything. And I thought, I actually want to make an audiobook and everything. And the reason I wanted to make an audiobook was to be able to go into more storytelling and be able to make the storytelling myself, because I potentially would like to go more into the film or gaming industry, because whenever I've watched a film or played a game and I've had that amazing feeling of like, wow, that was so cool or something like that, that's basically what I want to be a part of, just along that process and be like, yeah, I was part of that, and I had an impact on someone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, busy sort of sorting out your final projects and everything like that. Is there anything else we can maybe listen to or wait to listen to from you? Or is it all kind of under wraps at the moment?
Well, at the moment on SoundCloud, I've got a couple songs already on there, which I've been making throughout the years of being in Falmouth University. And for future-wise, I'm thinking it's a bit of a leap at the moment, and I need to see how I'm going to work with coding as such, but I'm going to try and make a game with the same sort of sounds, and this game will be no visuals at all. It'll be sound only, and you have to explore the world through sound, and obviously, potentially, it will be underwater again. So, of course, I can hopefully reuse the sounds again, which will be really useful.
Yeah, that's such an interesting concept, isn't it? Like taking that one element away and how that changes your experience. So you've mentioned your SoundCloud a couple times. Where can we find this and how can we follow your journey?
Of course. So on my SoundCloud, the name is Nick Lake and the audiobook is called Wake. So if you put Nick Lake Wake, you'll find it on SoundCloud, and you can find also all my other projects I've worked on there as well.
NEWSWAVE.
Now, New Year's resolutions may soon be consigned to history, as nearly half of people surveyed admit they'd never stuck to a single one. Behavioural psychologist Joe Hemmings joined Ross Lannon to tell all.
NEWSWAVE.
Now, with just 2 days to go until 2026, it seems like the great British tradition of New Year's resolutions might already be on its way out. Now, new research has suggested that nearly half of us admit that we've never stuck to a single resolution. I mean, I can definitely relate to that, with many of us saying that the whole idea just feels a little bit outdated now. So why are we setting ourselves up to fail every January? That is the big question. Joining us now to shed a little bit more light on this is behavioural psychologist Joe Hemmings. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Chaos. First things first, is it okay to still say Merry Christmas? I hope you're looking forward to New Year.
It's fine to say Merry Christmas.
Now, you're here to join us today to talk all about New Year's resolutions. So this kind of survey showing that nearly half of Brits have never stuck to a resolution, why do you think this is the case?
Look, I think the world is changing. So this research was conducted by High Protein Milk Super Nutrio, basically saying we're sort of ditching the really big, high expectation type of resolution for smaller little incremental steps, little changes in our diet or our lifestyle, which go on through the year, really. So I think the days have gone when we're now really aware of our health. We hear it on the radio, watch on TV, read it in the news. So I think people are always making these little changes to their lifestyle through a year, so that the days of like, I'm going to have a really sloppy, bad year, I don't know anything about anything, so I'm going to start on January the 1st and give up drinking, give up sugar, go to the gym, 6 times a week. I just feel we've moved away from that. I'm all for a tradition, believe me, but this one I feel we're just more aware of our own health on a more permanent basis than we used to be. So why do we need to give ourselves what is often a resolution that we can't achieve? It's too high an expectation for our lifestyles in the brutal month of January, which has about 400 days in it, as far as I'm concerned, in the middle of winter. It just doesn't seem to have the relevance or the point anymore.
It's very true. It is. And like you said, we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially like in this January period. It's this whole new year, fresh start. Whereas realistically, it is just another day of the week, isn't it?
It is. I don't want to put people off making changes, because it's always good to make changes to your lifestyle for better health. So things like Super Nutro milk, which is really high in calcium and protein, so they're both really good for us. That is just like changing your milk, right? That's effortless change, really. Instead of putting ordinary milk in your coffee or on your cereal, you're just changing your milk. So I quite like the idea of these types of changes, which really require, minimum effort, maximum gain, and not the ones where people feel they fail. I sort of feel failure is embedded in a New Year's resolution now. It took, in this research, it showed it took until the 10th of January when most resolutions had failed. I mean, that is literally, and there's another day called Quitters Day, I think, which is the 3rd Friday in January. But basically, all these resolutions, these big ones that we just can't achieve for whatever reason because of our busy lives, they're all failing in the month we're making them. So I just feel we don't need them anymore.
We don't need them. They're outdated. No. We're laying down that lawn now.
They're going in room 101, basically. That's what they're doing.
Now, looking at some of the kind of stats from this research, kind of the most common resolutions that people won't be making, we've touched on them kind of briefly, but like obviously 38% of people, the highest one is people saying they're either going on a diet or they're going to work out more. They are obviously the most common resolutions that people tend to make for each other. What kind of other things are cropping up that you think, or maybe some alternatives other than the milk? What do you think people should make?
I think they're about sort of making more little positive steps. So positive things you do, let's say you go for a walk twice a week, try and make it 3 or 4 times a week. So increase the positive sides of what you do, decrease the negative side. So one of them here in this list of resolutions Brits will not be making is ditching all junk food and takeaways, right? We know that they're bad for us. But that as a treat occasionally, instead of having one every weekend or twice a week, maybe make it once a month. So it's just kind of accentuating the positive, reducing the negative, just the little changes rather than the brutality of cutting out sugar or going vegan or, cut down your screen time maybe a little bit. The things that aren't so good for you, but don't say I'm never looking at a screen again, or this working out 7 days a week. Who's got the time to work out 7 days a week unless you are a bodybuilder and that's your kind of job? It's impossible. People are setting themselves these kind of brutal lifestyle changes that are just doomed to failure. So I just think it's improving, making more of the positive and diminishing a few of the negative, and you get a kind of balance where you get a bit of joy still in your life without, punishing yourself in that way.
Exactly. And the research doesn't lie. It proves that we end up failing these resolutions. So like you said, in summary, it's all about making smaller little positive goals that are more achievable and not punishing yourself this January with any New Year's resolutions. Sadly, Joe, we are running out of time with you, but I kind of wanted to end to give you the opportunity to give us a little summarise, give us a little Queen speech yourself, and tell us, have you made any little personal goals in your life?
My little personal goal this year is I live close to the sea, and I really love being by the sea, and I don't go down and look at it often enough. So I'm kind of resolving, unless I'm in a howling gale, I'm going to pop down and have a 10-minute walk by the sea every day, because I just feel that does me good.
I love that. Hey, we're based in Cornwall down here at Chaos Radio.
Well,
so
you've got plenty of sea around you. So,
yeah. Any
perfect.
mention of sea, I am there. And that's bound to keep things positive. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. You're a behavioural psychologist. Has my behaviour been all right during this interview?
It's been impeccable. Yep.
I'll take that. I will take that. I've passed the test, guys.
You passed the test.
Joe, have an incredible New Year. Thank you so much for swinging by and sharing that research with us today.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you and your listeners too.
Thank you very much. There we go, guys. That was Joe Hemmings there, behavioural psychologist. And in summary, we're just, reflecting on those figures from Super Nutrio Milk there, just to, encourage us positive resolutions this year. Don't set yourself up to fail.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, you're listening to NEWSWAVE here on Chaos Radio with me, Tom Howe. We were thrilled to welcome Nick Stammers to breakfast last month. He's the CEO and founder of Just Helping, the charity behind the UK's biggest Christmas tree cycle appeal. Now, last Christmas marked their most impactful year yet, with thousands of volunteers, charities and businesses coming together to recycle nearly 73,000 trees, raising a record-breaking £1.5 million for local causes, which here in Cornwall includes Children's Hospice South West. Nick joined Mia to discuss how they're not only making a huge difference in local communities, but to the environment too, their hopes for the future, and how we can all get involved.
NEWSWAVE.
The Christmas tree cycle appeal is probably the simplest, greenest and kindest way for you to dispose of your real Christmas tree. After Christmas, when you've had too many mince pies and you've finished up all the turkey and turkey sandwiches, and you see your trees there stuck in the corner of the room, or it's in the garden, and you're just thinking, what am I going to do with it? Well, that's where we come in, and we can really make it so simple for you to get rid of your tree. You go online and register at just-helping.org.uk. Just take you a couple of minutes, put your postcode in, and then early in January, you leave your tree outside your house. We'll give you the date, and we'll come around and pick it up and take it away and recycle it for you. When you go online to register your tree, we ask for you to make a donation to charity. We ask people to give generously, but, bearing in mind that they give what they can afford. And all of that money then goes to charities that we're supporting in the local community, providing, really vital services. And in Cornwall, we are really happy to be working with and supporting the Children's Hospice South West, who do an absolutely incredible job for families and children, at difficult times in life. So really happy to be supporting them. And as I said, it's really simple. Just go online at just-helping.org.uk, and that's it really. That's the big tree cycle appeal.
It's brilliant. And in 2025, the appeal raised 1.5 million for UK charities, which is just an incredible achievement. How was this distributed to create a positive impact nationwide?
Yes, we had a really great 2025, and we're so pleased to be able to support charities across the UK. We support two kind of groups of charities, those supporting relief of poverty, and charities supporting the advancement of sickness and health. And with that, we're supporting charities like hospices, charities supporting end-of-life care, youth and children's hospices like sports groups and scouts and things. But we're also supporting food banks and charities that are helping the homeless, charities that provide voluntary emergency services in local communities, and also women's refuges. So we're supporting a whole host of charities across the UK. And what's great is, we give a lot of the money goes to a key partner in the local area, like the hospice, and then volunteers get to choose where else that money should go into the local community, what other smaller charities might be in need of money. So it's very diverse and very different across the country.
Yeah, it's incredible. And as you mentioned there, volunteers and also corporate partnerships, they do play quite a vital role to make this possible, don't they?
Oh my goodness, I am so grateful for all of our volunteers. Last year we had 3,000 volunteers, and the year before actually 4,000 volunteers. So we have an army of people who are, who graciously give up their time to do something good for their community. They put their time back into helping our partners with providing these services. And, we're so blessed to have them. Without their support, we just wouldn't be able to make this happen. So, we have a saying at Just Helping is that, in our community, we are bigger, better, stronger together, because our volunteers, our charity partners, the local authorities, and our corporate partners, all pulling together, really make us, better and bigger and stronger together. So we're really grateful for all of our volunteers.
And you've already achieved so much with this appeal, but I'm wondering, do you have future hopes for it and how people may be able to support you in achieving those?
This year we're aiming to collect 100,000 trees. But each year, there are about between 6 and 8 million real Christmas trees sold in the UK. So we're really just scratching at the surface. And although we're collecting in 82 towns and cities this year, we would really like to be able to collect from every single postcode across the UK so that every community in the UK can benefit from this amazing cause. So that's our aim, and we're hoping to be able to collect from every postcode within 3 to 5 years. That's our target. That's what we're shooting for. And, of course, we'd like to make an even bigger dent into all of those 7 million trees. So just to remind listeners, it's, just-helping.org.uk, because every tree that gets donated really makes a difference.
So obviously this has a huge positive impact within the community and with charities and donations, but also this is a positive impact on the environment as well.
Yes, absolutely. Believe it or not, a single tree that goes into landfill creates about 16 kilograms of CO2 emissions. And that's because when a tree goes into landfill, it creates methane, which is about 20 times, worse than the CO2. Last year, we saved about 1.1 million kilograms of CO2 emissions by chipping the trees and putting those chippings on parks and sports fields and such like, rather than going into landfill, because the majority of those 7 million trees do go into landfill, and it creates a lot of greenhouse gases. So just to put this into context, 1.1 million kilograms of CO2 saved last year is the equivalent of around 800 return flights from the UK to New York, and that's the impact. So, one tree, by registering and recycling your tree, that's about the same as 2 days of heating your home or 2 weeks of lighting your home.
And can you remind us, Nick, if people want to find out more and get involved, how can they do this?
There are a number of ways to get involved. The first thing is, please get online, just-helping.org.uk, and register your tree. Then at our website, we'd love to have you come and support us volunteering. We need all the volunteers we can get. Just follow the links on our website for how to volunteer. Corporates as well. If you own a business or you're in a business, corporate social responsibility, is a great way to get involved and to put something back into the community. Please follow us on socials as well. We're on Instagram and Facebook. So please, support us there. That would be, great help. And tell your friends, spread the word. Get your friends to register their trees as well.
NEWSWAVE.
Now, Christmas is a time for families, festivities, and tradition, but behind the scenes, thousands of people work tirelessly to make it all happen. This includes the supermarket and shop staff who quietly keep shelves stocked to ensure our Christmas dinner gets on the table. Yet, a third of Brits believe they often don't get the credit they deserve during the festive season. Kieran Hemsworth, CEO of Grocery Aid, and Ed Cox, a key worker at Warburton's, join me to explore results of a recent survey in more detail.
NEWSWAVE.
Kieran, can I just start with you? Christmas is a really busy time, isn't it, behind the scenes? Can you just start by explaining who the heroes are that keep the festive season running? Whether that's from the shop floor, food producers, delivery drivers, there's so many, isn't there?
Oh, that's absolutely true. I mean, we commissioned this research really to understand who are the biggest heroes of Christmas. So we asked 2,000 people who are the most vital workers over Christmas, and we're delighted to see that 70% of people agree that grocery workers fit in this category. And, you know, that is everybody who does such an amazing job to put our Christmas dinner on the table, from producing those fantastic mince pies and pigs in blankets to lorry drivers whizzing around the country with festive goods, to supermarket and convenience store staff keeping the shelves stacked and operating all those really busy tills. And for us, this was about how we turn a spotlight on those unsung heroes of Christmas who work in the industry. As a third of people in our survey said they should be celebrated more for the amazing work that they do over that festive period. And we just really wanted to let them know that we really appreciate all the hard work they do. And Grocery Aid, which is an industry charity, we're here with a helping hand when they need us all year, but particularly over that really busy festive time period.
Absolutely. Ed, if I could just come to you now for a second. Some of the research shows 89% of people feel Christmas wouldn't be the same without key workers. Yet many say that supermarket and shop staff don't get the credit they deserve. What does this poll tell you about how the public sees grocery workers?
Yeah, it's really important that a nice positive message comes out that you are appreciated. I think it's, as we go through the years, you know, shops being more available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's really, you know, it's highlighted that the grocery industry is in heavy demand. So it's really poignant that it's being recognised in this way. So it does show great light on the grocery industry.
Absolutely. Nearly, going back to some of this research, nearly 6 in 10 adults admit they often forget how many people are working behind the scenes, but many do try. We see it here in Cornwall. Many do try to say thank you or support charities here in the area. What difference does recognition and support make to people?
Well, so I think it's, you know, it's just really important to appreciate the amount of work that goes into sort of putting Christmas dinner on the table for people. And when you're, I don't know, Tom, when you're tucking into your sprouts on Christmas Day, just spare a thought for all of the work that's gone into getting that product to your kitchen table. And I think really it's important that people understand that over this sort of busy time period that there is a charity like Grocery Aid there to help, and whether that is, you know, offering financial grants when people become sick and they need to go on to statutory sick pay, or people need to cut down their hours because they need to care for somebody at home, or emotional issues like mental health counselling. We pay for mental health counselling, relationship counselling, and also we help out with things like practical help. So if you've got problems with your landlords, we'll help out. If you need some help paying legal fees, we'll help out. And I just think making sure that people are aware that Grocery Aid exists to the 2.6 million people that work in the industry is really important. But also, I think, to their family and friends as well, because I think if you ever get yourself into a situation when you need our sort of help, the first people that you talk to is your family and friends. So not only is it the grocery workers, but it's also their family and friends as well.
Let's move it back to Ed again. You help keep Warburton's products moving from sites to store and to shelves. I didn't mean for all that alliteration, but that works quite neatly, actually. Can you give us a sense of what the run-up to Christmas looks like in terms of deliveries and the pressure on your teams compared to how it looks the rest of the year?
Yeah, so Christmas is planned 6 months ago in the grocery world in Warburton. So we're coming to the finer end of it now. So we're actually putting all those plans into place. But daily we're close to on the peak 2 weeks of Christmas, delivering nearly 4 million units of products a day. And you think of that nationally, that's a lot of wheels to be turning. So it's a lot of cogs making that happen. When you think of a simple product on the shelf, how it's got there and how it's manufactured and the raw materials getting it in is it's an absolute mastermind how it's done. So Christmas comes around every year, so we'd say we're kind of a finely tuned machine at it now. But there's still that anxiety of ensuring that Christmas is that we're still putting bread on the shelves and that we achieve everything we need to do. So there is additional pressures, but it's actually quite a pleasurable time of year to work. Spirits are up. It's busy because you want it to be busy. So it's not it's not an unpleasurable experience. So it's really, it is a fun time to be around in the grocery industry. Yeah, there was this heightened buzz around it. So it is good.
And it doesn't stop. Easter is just round the corner, and then it's summer, and then it's Halloween, all of these things that, all of these seasonal things come around so quickly and keep you busy. And as we've heard during this interview from Kieran, the support is there from Grocery Aid as well to be able to support the thousands, millions of people that make it happen and put smiles on people's faces all throughout the year. So if listeners know someone working in the grocery sector who might need support or a bit of motivation or a bit of an arm around their shoulder, how can they find out more about Grocery Aid and access help both over Christmas and into the new year, but all year round as well?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things there, I think, Tom. One is what we want to try and do is just take away some of the stigma that people have in terms of reaching out to a charity like Grocery Aid. Essentially, this help that we offer is help that people have already earned. I mean, they've worked long hours, often on their feet in cold conditions, and they're proud people as well. So, Grocery Aid really is the help that they have already earned. And it's a little bit like an extra insurance policy in a way. And if you do know somebody who works in the industry and could do with the sort of help that I talked about, then jump on our website. It's groceryaid.org.uk. So that's groceryaid.org.uk. And it has all the information on there in terms of the services that we offer and the best way to contact us as well.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, next on NEWSWAVE with me, Tom Howe here on Chaos Radio. We're going to be talking about scams. Now, scams are hitting Britain hard, with almost half of the country, 46%, being targeted just last year alone. And Christmas pressure and distraction makes it the perfect moment for criminals to strike. Joe Miller, the National Security Officer at Microsoft UK, and TV personality Amy Hart joins Cheryl Gordon to discuss why scams are on the rise, how AI is affecting things, and their advice for anyone that has been affected.
NEWSWAVE.
The reason that so many people are being targeted is because, during the festive season, we are busy, we have a lot going on, our capacity buckets are full, there's lots to remember, lots to do, and so we can have temporary lapse of judgment and maybe not be concentrating on exactly what's happening. Also, things like one of the biggest scams that's going around at the moment is the parcel texts with having, you've received a parcel, you need to arrange delivery, click on this link. Obviously, when is the time we order the most parcels? At Christmas. So it could be very believable that you have got a parcel that needs to be delivered.
I've noticed that before and it's like, that doesn't make sense. It is quite worrying, isn't it? Especially maybe, it can happen to anybody, whether we're younger or mature of age. And I think sometimes we need to look out for each other.
Absolutely. So it's a great point. This can genuinely happen to anyone. And so the more we talk about it, this campaign, this research, the more we raise awareness, helps us all better understand what we might be more vulnerable to. We know that digital scams are on the rise, particularly around Christmas time. The research that Microsoft has published this week stipulates that 2 in 5 of us have been impacted by a digital scam over the course of the last 12 months. That's not insignificant.
Why is AI making scams harder to spot?
Yeah, AI is making it much more complex for us as users to be able to identify what might be fraudulent activity. So generative AI means that scammers are able to develop fake imagery, able to imitate voices, develop videos, and find different techniques in order to attempt to scam us, and the scale as well at which AI can operate. So AI is making fraudulent activity, digital scamming, a much more complex space.
There can be a lot of embarrassment around being scammed. What is your advice to someone if they think they may have been targeted?
I would say, don't be ashamed. These scams are getting so much more advanced. And I think the reason that we feel shame and humiliation and stuff is because back in the day, the scams were quite easy to spot. And if you did fall for them, it was a bit like, oh God, how could you be that gullible? But even now, when I tell my story of being scammed, and I say, and then I gave them the code. And as I'm saying it, I think, why did I give them the code? But I was so in the moment and I really believed what they were telling me. And I would say, telling all your friends might help them as well to spot other scams, because I didn't know about number spoofing until it was done to me, which is when the scammers will intercept and mask their number with the actual legitimate number of the bank.
Yeah, and of course, I've noticed before, local phone numbers are used quite often as well. So you think, oh, who's that calling me? And that can also throw people that may be using a landline.
That's right. So that's where social engineering comes in. So these scammers are deliberately finding ways to target us. And again, irrespective of age or which part of the country we live in, finding ways to socially engineer these scams to optimize their chances of success. And there's a number of different ways that we can protect ourselves against this. So the key piece of advice from the Microsoft research is around two-factor authentication, 2FA. So different ways of authenticating your identity when you're logging into a bank account, when you're logging into your email account, so you're not reliant purely on a single password or a passcode, for example. So it's important that we protect ourselves in advance.
Where can we go for more information?
So there are multiple online tools that can be used. Our advice would be, if you think you're subject to fraudulent activity, please report it. So some examples would be the NCSC, the National Cyber Security Centre, their webpage, the Stop Think Fraud Hub is an online tool that can be used to report fraudulent activity. Action Fraud is the policing page. And then Microsoft itself, Microsoft/report a scam, can be used to report potential fraudulent activity that you might think you are subject to.
NEWSWAVE.
Time for something a little different now, and a look at a regular feature we share here on Chaos Radio. In this week's Talking Travel, Rory talks about how time zone oddities mean that we don't all celebrate the new year as uniformly as you might think.
NEWSWAVE.
With Talking Travel, I'm Rory McGowan. As of midday on January the 1st, it's officially New Year's everywhere in the world, as the furthest time zone from us here in the UK is 12 hours behind, or minus 12 UTC. But because time zones are not straight lines, the order in which countries celebrate is not as uniform as you think. The majority of African countries are 1 hour ahead of us here in the UK, and in most cases, countries that share a border are just one time zone apart. For example, if you were hosting New Year's celebrations in Western Egypt and drove further west into Libya, you'd be able to enjoy the countdown all over again. However, Sudan, a country that is directly south of Egypt and also borders Libya, is plus 3 hours UTC. This means that if you celebrated New Year in northern Sudan, You would have the time to drive north up to Egypt, where you'd celebrate it again, and then east into Libya to celebrate it for a third time, completing 3 New Years in 3 hours. But what if you wanted to relive your whole New Year's Eve all over again? Well, if you're near Hawaii, you're in luck. The Hawaiian Islands are among the last to see the new year, but they border the furthest forward time zone of +12 UTC. This means that if you celebrated New Year's on the Marshall Islands, who are some of the first to see the new year, and then took the 5-hour flight from there to Hawaii, you'd land around 6 AM in the morning on New Year's Eve, travelling around 18 hours backwards in time. And lastly, Greenland by itself has 3 different time zones, and at first glance they're split quite strangely. One small part of northeastern Greenland uses solely Greenwich Mean Time like we do, but in one town on the far west side of the territory, they use -4 UTC to more closely align with American time. Everywhere between these 2 very specific regions is -2 UTC. Whilst it's too big to travel and hit all 3 at the same time for one New Year's, you can at least fit 2 celebrations in without crossing a single border. There are some people who make trips like these to see multiple New Years in a single night. But for the majority of us, so long as we spend it with the right people, we only need to celebrate once. With Talking Travel, I'm Rory McGowan.
NEWSWAVE.
Thanks, Rory. Now to this week's Talking Life and to Jessica, who discusses New Year's Eve traditions in Spain, Japan, Brazil, Denmark and the Philippines because, well, why not?
NEWSWAVE.
With Talking Life, I'm Jessica Harding. New Year's Eve is celebrated all around the world, but the way people welcome the new year can be very different depending on culture and tradition. In Spain, one of the most famous traditions is eating 12 grapes at midnight, 1 grape for each stroke of the clock. Each grape represents good luck for 1 month of the coming year. If you manage to eat all 12 grapes on time, it's believed the year ahead will be very prosperous. The tradition is believed to have originated in Madrid, where grape farmers promoted the custom to boost sales. The practice became widely popular by 1909. With each grape that is consumed in time with the clock strikes, you should make a wish for each month of the year. The event is often celebrated in public squares, the most famous in Puerta del Sol in Madrid, where the event is broadcast on television. In Japan, New Year's Eve is a quiet and meaningful time. Buddhist temples ring their bells 108 times. This ritual is called Joya no Kane. Each bell ring represents a human desire or flaw, and the sound is meant to cleanse people of negativity from the past year. In Brazil, many people wear white clothing on New Year's Eve to symbolize peace and new beginnings. Along the beaches, especially in Rio de Janeiro, people jump over 7 ocean waves, making a wish with each jump for the year ahead. This ritual is associated with the goddess Lemanja, who is the protector of the sea. People believe the waves connect them to her power, helping them overcome challenges in the upcoming year. It is important to face the waves head-on as you jump. Never turn your back to them. Locals say this ensures respect for the goddess and avoids bad luck. In Denmark, people celebrate by jumping off of chairs at midnight, symbolising a hopeful leap into the new year. They also throw old plates at friends' doors, which surprisingly represents friendship and good luck. By smashing plates against someone's door, it is a way of saying thank you and wishing them good luck in the coming year. Plate smashing is also a way to let go of the past and start fresh. Breaking old dishes and plates symbolises leaving behind any negative energy or bad luck from the previous year and making room for new opportunities and positive experiences in the coming year. In the Philippines, round shapes are believed to bring wealth. People wear polka dots, eat round fruits, and fill their homes with circular objects to attract prosperity. Will you try any of these traditions? Happy New Year! With Talking Life, I am Jessica Harding.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to creative music technology student Niklas Lake, to behavioural psychologist Joe Hemmings, to Nick Stammers, the CEO and founder of Just Helping, to Grocery Aid CEO Kieran Hemsworth and key worker Ed Cox, to Joe Miller of Microsoft UK and TV personality Amy Hart, as well as to Rory and Jessica for the latest of their travel and lifestyle segments, Talking Travel and Talking Life. And as ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio. And remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. That's it then. You're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Tom Howe. Thanks very much for listening. Whatever it is that you're doing in your community this week, be sure to add a little chaos.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.